5-finger death punch went up, and apparently Manson went over. Did you know that?
Oh, he did?
You didn't see 5-finger death punch? All of a sudden, he goes, somebody that went up before us, not going to mention names, but went 10 minutes over the loose set. Now, you people don't know about contract issues and curfews and all that, but all I could tell you is I don't care what kind of lawyer he may have. My lawyer's better than his lawyer. And we're going to do one more song, and they can't kick us off here.
So, this is Mike and Alex is here.
Hey, what's up?
And we were supposed to, Jim went away somewhere and he landed and he was supposed to call us right now so we could do our podcast. Because he hasn't been on many of the podcasts recently. He wasn't here a couple weeks ago.
Well, not many, just the one.
But then we were off for a week too.
Yeah.
So I guess he's gone all week, and we didn't have one to put up this week, so we were going to have him call in, but now he just landed, and he's not going to be able to call in just yet, so maybe he'll call in later. Alex just drove over here, brought his kid in the other room, watching Thomas, and we had our Knitting Factory show yesterday.
It was great.
Which was the second week.
You had it in a monsoon level rain and thunderstorm.
There wasn't, I guess there was the same amount of people. Maybe?
Yeah, I would say there was maybe 25, but it was a Monday night. I don't think it was really widely publicized.
No, none of these have been.
You know? So I think it was, but it was kind of nice because it was a very loose, casual feel. You know, it seemed that it was a great opportunity for Jim and you guys to, you know, work things out, see if things play well with the audience. So I will say yesterday I spotted some VIPs in the crowd.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Rob Caggiano.
Right.
Wait, hold on. I have a question. Is it Caggiano or Caggiano? Because I've heard it both ways.
It's Caggiano.
Oh, okay. Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So I saw he was in there, and then also Ricky Rackman.
I heard Ricky Rackman was there. I did not see him.
Yeah.
I may have seen him from afar.
He looks good.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, I thought about it. It kind of blows my mind that Headbangers Ball I used to watch in the 90s.
Right.
And like 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he was the 90s guy. The 80s guy was, I think,
Bald guy?
Adam. There was a guy, Adam Curry, I think, did the original Headbangers.
Who's the kind of like a heavier set?
I know who that is. Matt Pinfield.
Yeah, Matt Pinfield.
He did it after.
Yeah.
I think he was after Ricky Rackman.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
What has Ricky Rackman been doing lately?
I don't know. For some reason, I think he might do jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Possibly. I don't know why I think that. Do you want to Google it right now?
Let me Google it.
If he did, you should challenge him next time.
Oh, totally.
I don't know. Last night felt a little weird to me. Playing wise, it felt a little looser than the first week, but people said it sounded better.
I thought it sounded great. You know, like I said, it seemed like some of the kinks were being worked out.
Right. There's some new songs that we did, and when we did them, we didn't really know what to do. And also, there's the thing that where Jim walks on stage and says, all right, I'm going to go take a dump. And then he walks out, and he says the band's going to play. We have no idea what we're going to play ever. We haven't worked anything out because we have never known he's going to do that.
Yeah.
So we should kind of have some sort of idea of what we're going to play.
You should make it like it's a fish show. and
Right.
just jam for 20 minutes.
Yeah, but we start, and it's not like we necessarily can hear what the guy across the stage is playing, so
Right.
we wind up just go at playing, and
But I don't think Fish does either.
no, they can hear. They know what they can hear when one guy's playing a note and they want to harmonize with him. We can't really do that because it's like we have to look. I have to look at the other guy's fingers to see what notes he's playing
Right.
rather than hearing it because we don't have good enough monitoring system.
Gotcha.
So it would just be good. Maybe we should work out some.
So that's something I never realized. Because, I've never been in real rock bands.
Mm-hmm.
So, you talk about, like, being at that level.
Right.
Like, I had no idea. Like, I thought, okay, so when you were playing with Scooby Groove, right? We've all heard about Scooby Groove.
Right.
You guys had a lot of really good equipment because the
We had
Dan
money.
and Mike's equipment were pretty high end,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So would that be considered? Would that have been, was that like good? I'd always thought that, okay, well, you have really good equipment, then that means you're going to sound good and you're going to be able to hear each other.
Yeah,
and
no,
everything.
it would mean, but it was good for it would. We had good equipment, so the sounds that came out of our instruments were going to be good. But we didn't necessarily. We weren't improvising, so we just rehearsed a ton. So we just knew exactly what we were going to do when we went on stage to play. So if I couldn't hear Mike, if I couldn't hear the bass, I'd still know what I'm supposed to do.
So it was more just a matter of almost like rote memorization.
Yeah, and I'd pay attention to the drums for rhythm.
Oh.
Just make sure I had to make sure I hear the drums.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but then when we started kind of improvising a little bit, we started lowering down our volume for those parts. You could hear what's going on. It's kind of hard to improvise like a metal riff
Right.
because it's hard to pick up on the exact riff from across the stage. It kind of all just sounds like,
Right.
So we just start off with something slow, but it's always a little bit it would just be better if we had a little idea, I guess, for Jim's thing.
Right.
So I've been the guy who, like, I spent all week learning the stuff and showed up at rehearsal, and everyone runs in and has no idea what to do, and I just go, why did I spend all this time not doing all the other things I wished I could have been doing when I was learning these songs? And now I'm spending an extra 2 hours here at the rehearsal that I shouldn't have to spend. Then I've also been the guy who's gone to the rehearsal. Since that happens, you start learning who doesn't do any work.
Right.
And I just go like, yeah, I know I don't have to know anything. And everyone's going to be winging it on the gig.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to wing it on the gig
Right.
because even if I know it, it's still going to sound like everyone's winging it. So,
Right.
So, but you kind of, I always go through things where I just go like, yeah, I think I just want to stop playing with the people that don't
Well,
do it
but
unless you're
that's-
just trying to make a little bit of money.
But that's what ended up happening at Manus was, there would be a ensemble of people that worked together.
Right,
Because
yeah.
they were like, oh, well, like, it's okay. Like, you might not have the best voice, but, you're good, and I'm not going to have to babysit you, so let's work together as often as we can.
yeah.
So I learned something pretty cool on Monday.
About
At the-
Pokemon?
No.
What?
Yeah, I play Pokemon. No, about the during the gig, I learned that there is a subgenre of music
Oh, yeah.
called shit rock that I had no idea existed before.
Yeah, and we found out that I guess the list of bands in shit rock is, I know Foreigner is one of them. Bachman Turner Overdrive is another one.
Yep, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Jefferson Starship.
Were they on that list?
So what constitutes?
We don't
What
know.
are the parameters?
There's a guy who knows the answer to who fits into the category,
Okay.
and that's all we know. So we were kind of trying to base it on who.
So
He's
it's got to
like-
be
he's the
American bands, though, they were saying.
We think so. That's
Okay.
what we were. There is an authority figure to this genre.
Okay.
We haven't met him, but the guitar player knows him.
Okay.
But
So-
he said that "Gimme Two Steps" from Skinnerd.
Yeah,
that's a
shit
shit
rock.
rock, but usually that band does not fit in that genre.
Right.
And same with American Woman.
Yeah,
Who's
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Who's
Dude,
I forget. But that band, that is that falls into the shit rock genre. But
So I have a suggestion, right? So I'm going to say the email address.
okay,
And my suggestion is the listeners send in bands or songs that they think would fit into shit rock.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, like one of the parameters
And it doesn't
doesn't
mean
have
you-
to be a band from the 70s, but the band has to be active in the 70s.
We think.
We think.
Yeah. This the other thing is, it doesn't mean they're not good or you don't like them.
Right, exactly. Like
It's
they
just
could be
it's a category just like heavy metal,
Right.
Shit rock, and then there's like pop rock, or,
right.
Yeah.
Like I look at it as it's kind of like a guilty pleasure rock song. Like
Right.
American Woman isn't an amazing song. Like you don't listen to it and be like, "Wow, this is
I don't
a
even listen to
well, well, right." I'm giving an example.
I know.
Okay? But it's like I don't listen to it and say, "Oh, wow, this is a really well-crafted song." But it's a decent song. Like I can listen to it and still enjoy it.
Right.
you know?
Right.
I don't turn it off from the radio, but I might not go buy it.
See, the thing that was bothering us is that Foreigner fell into it, and we all liked Foreigner. So,
Right.
like, we were all like, but wait, I like
But then
this song.
Journey didn't fall into
Journey
it.
didn't. Journey is not part of shit rock, and either is Boston is not.
Right. But
And-
Kansas.
Kansas might be.
Might
we have
be.
to question that. So there's like the guru
Right.
of this category.
So
who
here's my suggestion.
we may meet him one day.
Yeah, here's my suggestion. I'm going to give out the email address.
Yeah.
People send in their suggestions for what constitutes as shit rock.
Or if they have any, if they want to know if a band falls into it,
Right.
we will come back with the answer.
Right, and maybe we can have him and read put together a list, and he could tell us what is shit rock and why.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions about what
Shit rock.
constitutes shit rock, please send your questions to metalinmepodcast@gmail.com.
Not the metal in me.
Not the Metal in Me.
Okay. Metal
it's
in Me.
metalinmepodcast@gmail.com. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting because I started automatically going through kind of like the musical Rolodex in my head to figure out what bands I thought would be shit rock.
We were thinking REO Speedwagon was a definite, and we thought that was almost like the ultimate one, but that was not on his list. But we did not get the answer back before we left last night. So
okay.
I don't know if that fit in. So me and Alex were very excited that, I guess you could hear from the last podcast, Jim was talking about the letter we got from a guy, because he was talking about that he listens to the podcast and he was referring to a lot of things we did, but Jim skipped over all the
all the stuff that we did.
all the stuff about like the movies that we liked. He was kind of making comments on all the references we made
Right.
in the movies, and we were really excited because we were like, oh, maybe we think there are a lot of people out there like us
Right.
that watch these type of movies, or like we're in the same, I guess the same age as us. It would be like 80s and
Right.
into those things.
And it would be a subgenre of shit movies.
Yeah, right. but yeah, I think so. We were saying like, oh, I bet you there is a lot of people, but there is no show that you could listen to where people are talking about Big Trouble in Little China or
Right.
Cobra, or I guess I was saying Moving Violations. You just gave me the two.
Yeah, Rocket Man and Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
So, when I was in high school, I'd wanted to be a movie director. And one of my best friends worked at the video store right in that strip mall where we both worked. And I would go, and he would, like, rent me movies for free. And I really didn't have many friends, so I watched a lot of movies. So for me, it was like I would find something that I liked,
Yeah.
and then I would watch, kind of like what you did with, if you liked a guitarist,
Right.
you would find everything that the guitarist ever did
Right.
and absorb it. So I did that with movies.
Right.
So for me, it was like, if I watched Big Trouble in Little China, I would find out, oh, it's Kurt Russell. So now I'm going to watch every Kurt Russell movie.
Yeah.
Or, oh, it's John Carpenter directed it. I'm going to watch every John Carpenter.
You know what's weird is that is something I didn't do. Like for some reason, I watched a movie and never thought about I like the actor in this movie, or I never even considered that someone directed movies.
Right.
I just watched it and was like, I could like that movie, but never thought to go watch something else with Kurt Russell. I just never thought about directing.
I find that weird because I think and we've had this conversation about Mutt Lange.
Right.
Mutt Lange isn't a band member.
Right.
He's a producer.
Yep.
And though most, and I'm sure you like a lot of the things that he's produced because he's such a good producer.
Right.
I look at that the same way as I would look at a director.
Yeah.
But
I can't see movies the way that I say music. I don't know why. I don't know when people talk about, the storyline doesn't develop, or the character, they didn't spend enough time developing the characters. They didn't do, I just go, I either made it.
Well, that might be why you bombed that English class we were in together.
Yeah, well, but I just kind of go, I either made it through the movie or didn't.
Right.
In that base, if I finished the movie, I go, I guess I enjoyed it because I didn't walk out. But if I put it on again, then I kind of go, I guess that means I liked it.
Yeah.
There's certain, but I don't analyze it the way I do music. I kind of just go, it's almost like if I went to someone's house, I would either be like, I either want to leave or I want to stay there.
Right. And that's fine. I think you probably look to music the way I look to movies. Mm-hmm. And it's because I kind of aspired. I loved comic books. I loved reading. I wanted to write. Yeah. So, for me, I wanted to make movies, So, I kind of looked at it a little deeper than, you would have, because you're not interested in how that works.
It's funny that I almost judge people who talk about the writer and the actor and all that stuff. I almost judge them as, they're just trying to drop names. But when it comes to music, I'll be the guy going, Mutt Lange did that.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not trying to.
Well, that was when you were telling me you were going to the Shania Twain concert. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh. I was like, well, that's kind of gay. And you're like, no, it isn't. Mutt Lange produced
that's
some
what
of her albums.
Because it's a horrible thing to say until you go no, the same guy who produced Def Leppard produced that, so therefore it's kind of cool.
It's got to be good.
But I still, even before I knew he did it, this is what made me realize that I liked him, is that I heard Shania Twain songs and I was like, I like this.
Right.
And then I found out, I kept going it sounds a little like things that I listen to. And then I realized he produced it, and I was like, that's what made me realize. I don't think I realized what producers do until then, until I was like, that's why it reminds me of Def Leppard and AC/DC and stuff like that.
Well, speaking about Def Leppard, I love Mystery Science Theater. Have you ever watched... You watch Mystery Science Theater?
I saw it live.
Yeah, we saw it live together. And so there's one, Earth versus the spider, right? There's this giant irradiated spider living in this cage, and he's terrorizing this town, right? So these two high school kids, a boy and a girl, go into the cave. And the townspeople don't know that they're in there, so they blow up the entrance to the cave to kind of bury
now they're
the
stuck
spider,
in there.
right? Mm-hmm. So there's this huge explosion, a big cave-in, and the best line of the whole thing is, there's this pile of rubble, and the kid's arm is sticking out of it. And I think Crow or Tom Servo was like, hey, doesn't that belong to the guy from Def Leppard?
So, there... I remember one, and this is what made me like that show.
Right.
Was that the things are so stupid and subtle. I remember even when I would show people it, they would just be like, I don't even understand why that's funny. But there was one such tough guy. He had spiked hair, and he's driving down the street, and he had he had his music playing so loud, and he's driving down the street, and one of the alien guys goes, why doesn't he put the speakers on the inside of his car? And then there was one with Tia Carrera. and a guy walking through a dark parking lot, and he says something like, and she goes, "It sure is dark in here." He goes, "A little too dark." She goes, "It sure is scary in here." He goes, "A little too scary." And then she goes, "There sure is a lot of cars in here." And the alien goes, "A lot of cars in here."
So we can't bring up Mystery Science Theater without bringing up our longest running joke. So when we were in high school, we were big Mystery Science Theater fans. And so me, you, and our friend Wayne decided to take a video camera and film us watching the movie Shaft, right?
Because we thought we were going to be as funny as the show.
Not realizing that they write their material.
Right, and not realizing that we were going to be funnier than their show.
Way funnier.
Yeah.
I've been making fun of Mike for this for the past, 25 years.
How old were we? Let me just...
We had to be 16, 17? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It had to be 16.
Yeah.
I don't even think we had driver's license yet.
Yeah.
And one of the guys like, "Oh, are you getting wise with me?" And Mike is like, "Speaking of potato chips."
No, and I said speaking of potato chips, and it got silent.
It was like the records stopped.
Yeah. And then all we did was rip on me for the rest of the movie. The movie just played, and then I got ripped on for like 20 minutes. And that line has lived with us.
Yeah, it lived with us forever. And it means, now that line has meaning when somebody says something stupid that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's speaking of potatoes.
Yeah, and it's like when you said the line on this that you asked me to delete because it was so bad. We've had podcast episodes where people call me after and go like, "Can you delete the line I said this because it's so stupid?" And I of course delete a lot of what I say because I think I sound stupid. Just like if I laugh stupid, I kind of go like, I'll delete that. I ruined someone's joke. There's no laughs because I didn't like how my laugh sounded. So we just got a text from Jim. Jim has shows.
Yeah.
So he's not.
He's not.
Yeah. Fuck him. I forgot I have a show too. He flew somewhere and forgot that he has a show. There. Well, now it's just me and you.
Oh yeah.
Well, what are some of the other movies that you put in that time? Like I would say like Breakfast Club. I consider one of those, but that was a very popular movie.
Yeah. Okay, so I think like Breakfast Club, 16 Candles.
Right. Pretty in Pink.
Pretty in Pink. Mm-hmm. St. Elmo's Fire.
Right.
They're all in their own.
Yeah.
Say Anything.
Right. Because
I think Say Anything was kind of like
everybody
in
watched
the middle.
those. Everyone watched
those. Yeah, those were pretty common. For me, coming out of the 80s, definitely any of those really cheesy action movies.
Yeah. Commando,
Predator.
Yeah.
I had just remembered this. Since we're talking about that. Since we're talking about Big Trouble in Little China.
Right.
Have you ever seen the TV show Sledgehammer?
I don't know if I have, but I might have because I'm thinking of MacGyver in a way or something like that.
No. Episodes are on YouTube. It is hysterical.
Okay.
But you don't know if it's trying that hard to be hysterical.
Yeah.
It's almost like Big Trouble in Little China, where I think it's funnier than the director intended it to be.
Yeah.
They were going for some humor, but I think we think it's way funnier than they mean it to
See,
be.
I think at that time they were saying things that they thought people were going to think is cool when they said they're funny, they had their taglines after something. They really did. We're just
yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah. I think they were trying to make someone who's inspiring to kids, or a guy you want to be, a man's man, or something like that.
Well, it worked for me because I said that yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay line for the next 15 years.
I know. Well, it worked for me too at the time, and then now they don't do that. Well, I guess they do. When they do it now, everyone rolls their eyes,
right?
But back then, it was that's what I meant. Is did we just think it was cool, but adults thought it was? Did adults think that those movies were really cheesy and stupid,
Right.
and only kids liked it.
But I'll tell you, like, even I think it came out around that time period as well. Monster Squad.
Yeah,
Do you remember seeing Monster Squad?
Uh-uh.
It's good. It's about this group of young kids, like middle school aged, and their town is invaded by all of these like Hollywood monsters, like Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, Wolfman, and that's one of those that gives you so many good lines.
Would Stand By Me? Stand By Me was too good.
Yeah,
But-
I think that was a little too well done.
And what about, do you know Super Fuzz?
Oh my God, that is
Super.
okay with Ernest Borgnine.
I don't know who any. Again, I don't know who
Right.
anyone is, but I used to watch that every time it was on.
He was the guy who was a cop on. He was a cop, and some accident happened to give him superpowers, but the powers went away whenever he saw the color red.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
One of the best movies ever.
But every
that
time.
is a total shit movie.
Yeah. Whenever he did something with superpowers, you would hear them go super.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was. I remember the one time he was stirring his oatmeal in his kitchen, and the phone rang, and he walked over to his phone, and
the oatmeal's
spoon
still
kept
stirring.
the oatmeal. me and my friend Jason Lachlan, we always talk about that movie. You could get the clips of that on YouTube.
There's another good one. Is it Midnight Madness?
Oh my God! With the scavenger hunt.
Yeah, with Michael J. Fox was
Yeah,
in it.
love it.
And Paul Rubens.
Yeah, it's funny because did
That's
we
a
talk about
great
this
movie.
already?
No.
I was just gonna. That's the one I was gonna bring up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Because me and Eric talked about it.
Yeah.
The other like a week ago. That had like, I loved that movie because it was like all the different groups met. They met at someone's house, right? And they
Yeah.
said, "Oh, is this like this brainy guy was just like, this is the adventure." Like tells them about their adventure they're gonna have, and then they have to go around town, finding one clue to the next clue to the next clue. And there's like the group of nerds.
Right.
Who is that? It's the one guy who's always plays nerds in movies. He's like a nerd in Eugene, I think, in Grease 2.
I don't remember Grease 2 as well as you do.
Really? I know everything about Grease 2.
Yeah, I know.
I've watched it a million times. I think Grease 2 is better than Grease 1. Like I think it really is. I would if
I
I
don't
put
know
on,
that much about Grease 1.
if you put on Grease, every scene with John Travolta in Grease he's great. Like he's amazing because you would love everything he does. But in Grease 2, they tried to they clearly did not have.
Was John Travolta in Grease 2?
No, there was nobody in it. It was Michelle Pfeiffer was.
So they were just trying to like market
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
success of Grease 1.
There might
Even
have
though
been
none
one-
of the stars wanted to come back.
One girl like Frenchie or I don't remember
yeah.
who it is. One of the girls went to it, but yeah, I know all the songs in that movie. I love them.
Yeah.
Me and Joe have played some of them live.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, Midnight Madness is great. It's kind of like a kid version of Cannonball Run.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's again. I don't know Cannonball Run. I don't
You've
know.
never seen Cannonball
I don't
Run.
know Cannonball Run, and I don't know what's the one with what's the one with the gopher, Chevy Chase.
Oh my God, Caddyshack.
I haven't seen.
That's definitely like that's another genre
I know.
of like 80s buddy comedies.
That's.
And like Stripes. Oh,
I remember-
those movies are so good.
I didn't get those when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't get them. It's like I was watching kid movies when I remember like my dad was watching those.
Yeah, I was watching man movies.
Yeah, I was watching like the Smurfs and stuff like
Ugh.
that. But yeah, for some reason I didn't get them. I watched this, but I got into like First Blood. I loved First Blood.
Rambo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that one for me seemed like I was like, oh, that's a movie. Like
So you
watch.
didn't see that and then all of a sudden be like, oh, this is Sylvester Stallone.
Boner's dad.
Yeah, let me IMDb Sylvester Stallone and see what other movies he's.
I
been
knew
in.
I knew Rocky before I saw.
Right.
I knew Rocky 3 before I saw First Blood.
That was a great movie.
Rocky 3.
Yeah. I actually liked my favorite.
Was over the top.
Yeah, He met the guy mentions Over the Top.
Oh yeah. Oh, the guy who wrote us
the guy
thing.
who wrote us the letter.
Yeah.
That's the best movie because that taught me you can do anything you want as long as you turn your hat backwards.
Yes.
Like anything, no matter how daunting and hard
Right.
things are in life, if you turn your hat backwards,
Like walk
you'll
on
succeed.
water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, like, I don't think I was a big Sylvester Stallone fan.
Right.
But I liked... Know what I liked? I liked any movie where the underdog overcomes the...
Yeah.
I loved Karate Kid.
Oh yeah.
I thought Karate Kid was, like, amazing. I used to just watch the end all the time.
Yeah.
And the Bad News Bears.
Bad News Bears is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Tanner and Lupus.
My favorite was definitely Tanner.
Yeah. We always make, when you missed the ball, we called it a lupus.
I liked when. Which was the one? The second one was when they played in the Astrodome, right?
Yeah, that was the second one.
Yeah,
Let
that
them
was
play.
that was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, I liked that one. And then the third one was
I
when they
never
played
saw
in
it.
Japan,
Oh my God! No, maybe
or maybe two. They
one was
played,
Let Them. I don't know which one was Let Them Play. Maybe
That was
the
when
Astrodome.
that was the Astrodome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love.
And
the
then
first
Tanner kept running around and like throwing the bases and
Right.
throwing a fit. I really
yeah.
liked that one.
one. Really?
You know.
Yeah. So this week we're playing in Cleveland at Rover Fest.
And that's Saturday,
That's
right?
Saturday, and then we do our last knitting factory next Monday, which is the 1st, August 1st.
And I think Gabe is playing on that, right?
Maybe. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
I think
the little
so. So, go ahead. You want to?
we had a kid that Alex knows. He's a big fan of like metal guitar, and he plays guitar, so he came up on stage with us at the end of last night and played Living After Midnight. At first he told us he wanted to play Electric Eye, and then we listened to him and we're like, this is way too much. This is just too much. It's
to
too
do in
hard
such a
for
short
us.
time.
Yeah, it's too hard for us to learn. So we did Living After Midnight. He came up and he was awesome.
Yeah, he ripped it.
Yeah. And,
Like really ripped it.
and then I asked
Like even the solo.
Yeah, I asked him, I was like, do you know the solo? And he goes, yeah, I know the solo. And I was like, good. Because I don't. I didn't learn it. But yeah, so he'll come up again. And maybe even, I think Chris was saying Philly.
Yeah, I think he's gonna come to Philly.
And do that
Yeah.
festival with us.
Yeah.
But, so we'll do that. I don't even know how long we do at Rover Fest.
But that's to me like that's a great underdog story because like he's obsessed with 80s metal. And
Yeah.
he's 13 years old.
That is-
and that he's lucky if there's one other kid in school that's into that.
Yep.
You know, and like we've all been there. Like we've all like I think that's one of the things that kind of defines who we are
Right.
is because we've been in middle school.
Right.
And being for me, I was the only one in middle school who watched Doctor Who.
Right,
And Monty Python.
I was the only one in middle school who listened to Dokken.
Yeah, right. So, well, you're more similar to him than,
Yeah.
But I always love to kind of like get that kid his day.
Well, this is fun.
Yeah. Good hang.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that we'll be able to do next week's either. It might be late, but again, we play all weekend. We travel Sunday. But again, we play the Knitting Factory on Monday, which is usually when we put the podcast out. So, I don't know, maybe it'll be Tuesday again.
But we're back on schedule in
After
August.
that, yeah. August we'll be back on schedule to doing Monday nights with
And that's
the
with
whole
the whole
gang.
crew.
Yeah, the whole gang will be in here.
So you've got Cleveland's Rover Fest on Saturday.
Yep.
You've got the Knitting Factory on Monday.
Right.
Doors open at 7 in Brooklyn.
Yep.
So come on down to that. And
Then we have a bunch of things in September,
Right.
or the end of August.
yeah.
But I don't have those dates.
And if you want to reach out to us, you can email us at metalinmepodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at The Metal in Me, and also on Twitter at hold on, let me check the Twitter. It's at The Metal in Me.
Okay, so that's the Twitter.
Yeah, at The Metal in Me. Facebook, find us, like us, The Metal in Me, and email metalinmepodcast@gmail.com.
Cool.
Yo.
I got some information about shitrock.
Really?
Yes. Let me find it. I got a text from Brian. I had some questions.
Brian is the fill-in guitarist.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I wrote him to ask him if Big Star was shitrock, because I think of them as having a little bit of country in them, and they are from the correct time period, what we were thinking of. But
almost like a southern rock.
They're I really like them, but I just thought that they might have fit into the category. So he wrote back hard no about that. He said, no, not even close. And then he gave us some information on it. It says shitrock, in essence, existed mainly from 70 through roughly the early 80s. It had elements of the early hard rock and metal pioneers, like Sabbath and Zeppelin, but never as extreme in the heaviness or experimental nature. So,
okay, that makes sense.
And more often than not, it took cues from Southern rock. So that's where I'm hearing the Southern rock, like Allman Brothers or Skinner, but never fully committing there either. So that's why I was thinking Big Star, because it's not fully committing to it, but it has elements of like country-ish things, I guess.
So does he give any sort of parameters or examples?
No, this is the other thing we got from him. His name is Jeff.
Okay.
He wrote, and this is maybe he's kind of given us little clues without telling us exact. So maybe it's more of a game to him. More like almost like Midnight Madness. Maybe we have to go through the clues to figure out, what really makes it shitrock. He said if you put a song in between Mississippi Queen by Mountain and Hair of the Dog by Nazareth on a mixtape.
How does Hair of the Dog go?
I don't know that one. I'll have to put it on. Okay. We'll have to listen to it. If you put it between those two songs and it doesn't sound out of place, it's probably shitrock. And some bands were sometimes shitrock, but not always. If Tommy Shaw sang a Styx song, it is probably shitrock. If Dennis DeYoung sang it, then it was soft prog. And Kansas bounced between those as well, which is kind of good because we were wondering about Kansas.
Right.
Also seemed to be a distinctly American thing, with the glaring exception being the Scorpions. I wouldn't completely argue against Deep Purple or early Whitesnake either. So the Scorpions, I guess, fit into it, and Deep Purple or early Whitesnake. Okay. So that is putting like Deep Purple and Foreigner.
So that gives me like an idea of what the sound is.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking Deep Purple to me maybe I don't know them too much, but they are a little heavier than. That is what he said though. Not fully committing to the heaviness. And early Whitesnake is definitely heavier and more bluesier than what I know of, like the '80s stuff.
Right.
And that gives us something to work with.
It does. And it gives the listeners at home an idea.
Yeah. So my question that I had is, if there were a modern shitrock category, would Pour Some Sugar on Me from Def Leppard fit into it?
Yeah, because it's not like Pour Some Sugar they're definitely moving away from the metal.
Yeah, like the hard. Yeah. But again, what makes it modern?
It's not a very hard song, but it's kind of like in that same area as like Girls, Girls, Girls by Motley Crue.
Right. I wonder if that's modern shitrock.
Yeah.
Huh.
Or is it like I would think modern shitrock would be bands like Creed or Nickelback.
Huh. they might be a little too song oriented and not enough jammy. I don't know. So we should ask him if he can create a modern category for this, like a subgenre of
And
ship
let us know
rock.
what can happen. So I did some internet investigation, and I know where Jim is.
Where?
He's doing a American Cable Association convention in Florida.
What does that mean?
I guess they hired him to do a. I guess it's like a corporate event.
Oh.
It's a cable convention for all these cable companies.
Oh yeah.
And he's doing like a evening dinner show.
Oh.
And it's in Orlando.
Yeah, so
and
that's why
who else is
he was saying
you know
he
who
was
else
going.
is doing it?
Who?
Daryl Strawberry.
Oh. How do you know this?
So he could huh?
Did you look on his Facebook page or something?
No, all right. So I saw I looked on his Twitter and it said like this hashtag came up. TIF16. So I researched what that was, and it brought me to the page of this convention.
Yeah.
And I looked through the agenda of the days and found that he was doing a like a dinner show.
Yeah.
And then I also saw there's a speaker, like a conference speaker, is Daryl Strawberry and his wife talking about Christians in cable.
Oh wow. No, what's funny is that you did all this research and we could have just asked him if he would have called us yesterday.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have killed as much time for me.
Right, because you were bored today.
Right, and make me feel like I'm, some sort of hacker.
Right. All right, well, we got some gym updates. We got some that genre of music. Maybe this guy will show up next week to the gig and we can find out more about it. All right, I'm going to go and send this in now.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.